What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Yes, we are back with some news and rumors in the world of pro wrestling and sports entertainment. We are going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite from December the 7th, 2022. And it was a AEW Dynamite coming from Texas. So Ricky Starks, being an adopted son of Texas, was the main person everybody was watching in this opening battle royal to determine who would go and challenge Maxwell Jacob Freeman for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. We got a lot of interesting little interplay in this match, some things that they're probably going to lead to stuff in the future. Jungle Boy, it looks like they're taking him on a hiatus from his feud with Christian. That whole cage match with Luchasaurus pretty much ended that, but it seems like he's got another big man on his tail now, and another loudmouth on his tail as he eliminates Lee Moriarty from the Battle Royal, but W. Morrissey hits him with a big kick and eliminates Jungle Boy, and then proceeds to give him the nastiest apron choke slam I have ever seen. We're going to have to look and see whether or not Jungle Boy's actually hurt, because the way he landed, it looked like it was like the back of his shoulder or the back of his head hit the ring apron, which that could be pretty damn, you can break your neck doing that. So that's a little risky there. We still have the ongoing issues with Matt Hardy and Ethan Page. Of course, Matt Hardy's contract is owned by Ethan Page and the whole firm, and Ethan Page has said that Matt Hardy's here to help him out and win this battle royal. Matt Hardy has enough of his nonsense, we think, but then he keeps coming back to side with Ethan Page. It comes down to them along with Ricky Starks. Starks eliminates Matt Hardy while Ethan Page was busy pandering to the crowd, and Ethan Page, in this amazing one fluid motion, lifts up a beaten down Ricky Starks off the mat, up onto his shoulders, into a running power slam position, goes and runs towards the ropes as if he's going to dump Ricky over. Ricky holds the middle rope, pulls Ethan over with him. And again, this is all one smooth motion from pulling up Starks off the canvas and goes over the top rope. Starks doesn't hit the floor, Ethan Page does, and your winner of the Battle Royal now to challenge MJF for a second time now, another challenge against MJF for the Dynamite Diamond Ring coming up on AEW Dynamite Television. But we have a lot of other things that are going on with this match, because after the match, MJF comes out to the ring. He cuts his usual promo, has a couple of insider things that he shouldn't talk about. They did briefly address the William Regal thing. Apparently, Bryan Danielson is not going to be at Dynamite. I'm going to look up the reason why later on. But now he's confronting Ricky Starks here, and MJF roasts Ricky pretty good for being a Rock wannabe. Dwayne, Dwayne discount, Dwayne or whatever. Then he calls him, he's like, you know what I'm going to call you? I'm not going to call you the Rock. I'm going to call you the Pebble, which that was pretty funny. Starks was able to hang with him, though. He took some pretty good shots from MJF. Starks gets on the mic, and we all kind of wondered, he's been decent on the mic, but can he hang with MJF? And he proved he could pretty much hang with MJF on the mic here. In addition to calling him Maxi Pad and talking about how he was kind of a ripoff of Roddy Piper, Ricky Starks just completely laid into MJF with a whole bunch of stuff about the contract disputes and how he can go lay in grease for 3 months and avoid responsibility. And it was a very responsibility-driven promo here, which I thought was pretty cool. Starks also talks about, the fake spray tan, the mole on his neck, his shirt was unironed, he wore his ugly shoes, the stupid scarf, the stupid haircut, and ultimately MJF doesn't like responsibility and he doesn't deserve the AEW championship, but Ricky Starks is going to take the ring and the championship away from MJF and take that responsibility off the plate for you, little boy. That was a good way to end that segment, but Max wasn't done. He, of course, has to kick Ricky Starks in the nuts, tries to hit him with the belt, but things kind of end in a standoff as we look forward to now I would say they've built this up pretty well in the last 2 weeks between Ricky Starks and MJF. And now we have an option here. If Ricky Starks is going to win the Dynamite Diamond Ring, that necessarily doesn't, he can get that win and make himself up and elevate himself up into the upper card of AEW, but ultimately lose the match for the actual AEW championship. This is similar to what they did with Christian and Kenny Omega a couple years ago, where Christian won the Impact Championship from Kenny Omega, but lost in the AEW Championship match. I think we're probably going to get a similar thing here with Ricky Starks and MJF. As we continue on with the show, we get to see the TNT Championship match with Samoa Joe defending against former champion Darby Allin. We even got a Miro sighting in a video package. A little bit more about Miro after this match, but this was this was a ass whooping by Samoa Joe on Darby Allin. There was an early spot which a lot of people have been hinting that they wanted to see. Joe is known for walking away from dives, and Darby is known for doing dives between the ropes. It didn't take them long to do that spot with Joe just walking out of the way. Darby wiping out. Darby got snap power slammed on the concrete onto one of the wires underneath the ring, which underneath the mats, which that probably hurt really bad. Anybody who's ever fallen on a wire knows there's a special kind of pain that comes with that. There's muscle busters on skateboards. There's all kinds of stuff. Darby did fight back a little bit in this match, but this was it wasn't a rout by Samoa Joe, but it was a dominant performance. After Joe wins the match with the coquina clutch, he then gets Darby up in his face and decides he's going to headbutt Darby and beat him up a little bit more. And then we get Wardlow coming to the ring to chase Joe away. However, they then announced that the match for this Saturday, though, is not Wardlow against Joe. It's not Joe against Darby. It's Joe against Juice Robinson, who I'm very curious as to what's going on with Juice. That's a whole story for another time. But Juice Robinson, who didn't make an appearance here, will be challenging Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor TV title at Final Battle this coming Saturday. Then in a backstage interview, you have Orange Cassidy in a backstage segment with Kip Sabian. Sabian says that because of what Dustin Rhodes did to him in the Battle Royal, he couldn't challenge for the All-Atlantic Championship this Friday. But Orange Cassidy said, well, if you're afraid to fight, find somebody who can. Kip does this little look, and I immediately am thinking about Miro. So hopefully, since Forbidden Freaking Door, it's been since we've seen Miro. Hopefully he will be making his return. He'll be back on AEW TV before the end of the year, hopefully. It's amazing to think it's been that long since he was on AEW TV, but it has been. So let's hope to see Miro on Friday. We then get the Blackpool Combat Club against the Jericho Appreciation Society. Jake Hager and Daniel Garcia taking on Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Jon Moxley coming to the ring, filling in that William Regal role. And this was a decent tag team match. It's a good TV match. Claudio gets the win over Hager. This is all leading in, of course, to their two title matches this coming Saturday against the JAS. But it was what happened after the match that's probably going to make a lot more news. Tony Schiavone, during the match, gave a little tease that there was something about William Regal he wanted to talk about. Of course, there's been the big story over the past week, or the rumor, I should say, about William Regal. Yes, he's leaving AEW. He's going back to WWE, not for the reasons that the dirt sheets struck out again with all of the speculation about all kinds of nonsense, and it turned out not to be any of that. But William Regal is no longer in AEW, but Tony Khan and AEW did give William Regal this one chance. In a segment that Tony said he recorded a couple weeks ago, I have a feeling they recorded this last week maybe, or whenever, but it doesn't matter. This was William Regal giving a message in an interview with Tony Schiavone. They tried to play it up like it was some secret hidden thing that they, left on the cutting room floor. But in it, Regal talks about why he did what he did. They give an explanation for it and said that he wasn't needed in a Blackpool Combat Club. And he gave Jon Moxley the last lesson that he could ever give him, is to always have eyes in the back of your head. And what I think definitely was Regal's goodbye, not only to the roster, but also to the AEW fans. It's been dramatic. And that was William Regal saying his goodbyes to the AEW audience. I thought that was pretty class. I think this whole thing has been a lot classier than the rumors and speculation have been over that. I'll talk about that in a separate video. Mox doesn't seem like he's ready to forgive William Regal yet, though. And he's just focused on the Blackpool Combat Club, continuing what they set out to do and getting even better at it. And we also have the fact that Moxley made an open challenge for Rampage. So it looks like they're trying to set up Rampage this Friday to be a must-see TV show after last week's abysmal ratings. They needed to do something. So we'll see whether or not this translates into bigger ratings, with the anticipation of possibly Hangman Page confronting Moxley and the possibility that Miro might be returning to AEW TV. So after all this, we got a women's tag match with Jade and the baddies. It was kind of a nothing match. It was another basically squash match for Jade Cargill. We then moved on to find out some other things that are going to be coming up for Rampage. And for future AEW shows, Britt Baker challenges Saraya to a tag team match. Britt is going to have the AEW now official women's champion, Jamie Hayter, on her side. And Saraya is going to have to come up with a tag team partner. We'll see what happens with that. We did find out that Takeshita will be once again facing Jon Moxley this coming Friday on Rampage. Again, them trying to get people to take an interest in viewing Rampage this week, so I thought that was a good idea. Then we were on our way to the main event, the Acclaim with Daddy Ass scissoring their way down to the ring. Badcaster had not one of his best raps, but he did reference Herschel Walker losing the election. That's pretty bad. They defended the titles against the AAA, IWGP, and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, FTR. FTR trying to add a fourth belt to their collection. Would they be able to do it? I think most people expected this to be a pretty damn good TV championship match. FTR a little salty because the Usos were named PWI Top Tag Team of the Year, but given the year that FTR had, that's a tough decision. But the Usos did get that. But that did not deter them from having a pretty damn interesting match here with the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed needing to learn a little bit more. Cash took a nasty bump near the halfway point of the match. You kind of heard it. His face hit the corner of the ring apron. It sounded bad, but it looks like he was okay. There's a lot of back and forth in this match. The Acclaimed getting the advantage at one point in time. FTR getting the advantage of them trading different holds and counter holds into the commercial break. And when it came back from commercial break, the match just went into full gear, pun intended. But man, they Acclaimed and FTR going back and forth. They really had you going because this match was kind of a 50-50. And I think people could have evenly seen FTR win this match and win the tag titles as much as they could have seen the Acclaim retaining because the Acclaim are fairly young in their title reign with the AEW Tag Team Championships. But after several near falls, and well done near falls, I should say, it was the Acclaimed who were the last men standing. They got the last switcheroo and were able to get the win over FTR, retaining the AEW Tag Team Championships, preventing FTR from getting those titles. And now I guess you could say now officially the Usos would be considered, since they've been undefeated now. The Usos and FTR just got beat. The Usos probably are the best tag team of the year if you're going to rank them by criteria. But it was after the match that we had more of this kind of weird AEW booking, which I'll talk about in another video as well. But the Ass Boys show up on the screen, and in proxy of the Briscoe brothers, Dem Boys, they challenge FTR to a dog collar match, presumably for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships this Saturday at the Final Battle pay-per-view. Now, there's some reasons that I haven't paid too much attention to it, but there's some reasons why the Briscoes aren't in AEW and aren't on AEW television. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure some of you guys in the comments can let me know, fill in what the rumors are or what the news is, if there's actually news about that. But this was just very strange that the Ass Boys would be speaking on behalf of the Briscoe brothers, and this last-minute challenge for a dog collar tag team match at Final Battle. It's I agree with Dax's reaction to it. It's like, really? Come on, this is not good in the way that they've been handling this, but there are logistics about the Ring of Honor situation and a situation with FTR that are just what they are when it comes to Tony Khan. So again, that's a topic for another time, but overall, this edition of AEW Dynamite, I did think it's better than the ones over the last couple of weeks. The crowd in Texas was absolutely hot most of the night, and it was a decent crowd again, a full crowd. We didn't have the whole right side of the screen and the hard camera side completely empty, so that was a good sign for AEW. And I think it's because, again, this is in Texas. They haven't been to a lot of places where there is an audience that wants to see them. They spend a lot of time in the Northeast and a lot of time in Chicago, and a lot of people suspected that they've kind of worn out those crowds. I've been to 2 or 3 Dynamites over the last year or so, I can understand that. There's been a lot of events here in the Baltimore, D.C. area and in the Northeast over the last year or so with AEW. But we'll see if they'll be going back to Texas. Of course, they're in Texas this week. They're going out to California and they will be in Winnipeg, as they announced, next year, the home of Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho and Don Callis too. But that should be a big show with AEW going to Winnipeg with those two guys being. I'm surprised it took this long to get the Winnipeg show, but I want to know what you guys thought about this edition of AEW Dynamite. Did you find it entertaining? What do you think about the stuff with Ricky Starks and MJF? And did Ricky Starks hold his own against the Master on the mic? What do you think about the situation with Ring of Honor's pay-per-view coming up this weekend, the Blackpool Combat Club, AEW giving William Regal a way to say goodbye to his audience? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until next time, I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.